It is time for our video game news. In this segment, we share the best headlines from the week in the gaming industry. First up on this week in the gaming industry, we have Joy-Con drift. According to Kotaku, we have an issue that's happening with the Switch as of late. I have not personally experienced this that I know of, but a lot of people have been reporting that there is a thing called Joy-Con drift that is starting to plague Switches everywhere.
I can confirm this is true because it happened the other day when we had our event at Community, and I was like, what is going on here? I cannot get this game to work because my selection icon thing around selections just kept going left, and I was like, why is it doing this? I thought it was one of our GameCube controllers. Turned out it wasn't.
Wait, really?
It was actually the Joy-Con.
Wait, there was a Joy-Con attached to it too?
Yeah, because when you plug the Switch into the dock, I just leave the Joy-Cons on there. So when you add the attachment for the GameCube controllers, you can just add it on top of it and choose to have the Joy-Cons there or not.
That's a problem?
That is a problem.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was... I thought it was one of the GameCube controllers.
No. That's why I confirmed, because I took it off and then it fixed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't know
I was
that.
like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Well, let me out to try that then. That's a big problem, though.
Yes.
No, I've never noticed it.
Yes, because if you only have one pair, what do? You have to go buy a new one.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to try that next time.
Luckily, we have multiple pairs, but that costs a lot.
I didn't realize they were connected. I guess they are, obviously, because they're attached to the thing, but I never noticed that being an issue. So my Switch Joy-Cons are having drift. That's weird, because I use those myself, and I never have a problem.
Well, I think it's some do, some don't.
Yeah.
And I guess it's degradation over time.
Yeah.
And it's finally, some of them have hit their mark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's my Switch that was having that problem, and like I've never had when I play myself, I never have drift happen when I'm like playing solo because I always just play with my Joy-Cons attached. But
so
I've never
this
had
was on my
issue.
girlfriend's console that we use, so I don't use her very often.
Okay,
but the fact that it happened,
I think you meant it was on mine because mine's had that problem before with the GameCube's plugged in where it just like starts shifting off to the side of the screen, and I thought it was because I had a GameCube controller plugged in, I unplugged it and it stopped doing it.
Yeah.
It's
very possible it's that too,
again.
right?
Okay.
But for me, it was the actual Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And maybe it's just, one-off. Maybe if you disconnect them and connect it, maybe there's like a finagle way that you can get it to stop.
That's weird with hers too, because that's the one. That one we don't use that one hardly.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's weird.
Exactly.
Huh.
So you're saying?
Yeah. No. So like that's been the big issue is that they're not touching the joystick or anything like that, but the console still thinks the joystick is moving, and there's no permanent fix being offered by Nintendo. And supposedly, if you turn it in and send it to Nintendo, they will fix it one time for free. But after that, if you do it again, you have to pay to get it fixed. So in this article, they talk about how one of the writer of this article, Gita Jackson, was reviewing Fire Emblem Three Houses and noticed their Joy-Con not working properly. So in the combat screen, when the stick on the right Joy-Con controls, basically the camera angle would slowly drift until it was directly overhead. And in the school phase of the game, the camera would do the same thing, drifting away from the optimal position unless they were keeping their thumb on it. And then other people have been reporting the same kind of thing. Two days ago on a subreddit, the issue was upvoted over 25,000 times. The player has started getting issues with drift on their Joy-Con after only 4 months of use. And then that user went on to say, before someone said contact Nintendo and have them repair it, they wrote, I shouldn't have to spend $4 in 2 weeks without my Joy-Cons for them to just come back and break it again in 4 months, which is totally accurate.
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
Yeah. So it's interesting that this is starting to occur, and it's a widespread issue. It's not just one, and it sucks for Switch because here this console has had nothing but high praise since it came out, and then now we're discovering this problem.
I guess their day is due now.
Yes. So it's been such an issue that Game Informer Zimran Khan has reported that now a class action lawsuit on the Switch has been filed due to the faulty Joy-Cons. So a man by the name of Ryan Diaz in the U.S. District Court in Seattle has alleged that the Joy-Cons users are overwhelmingly experiencing the drift issue, and he argues that with enough time, the problem becomes unfixable, and games will perceive analog stick movement without any such input. He also noted that the warranty for Joy-Cons, again, after the first time to one fix, you're required to pay for repair or just simply buy new Joy-Cons. So they also allege that Nintendo has known about this issue with Joy-Cons from their own internal testing and the last 2 years of reports about the issue online. Nintendo's lack of warning on the subject is something that he feels is worthy of a class action lawsuit. So he's seeking compensation from Nintendo for the problem. Yeah, so now there's a class action lawsuit against them for the same issue. So
This
they're
could
gonna have to
all
fix
go
some
away
stuff.
real quick. It's if they just allow people to keep turning it in and getting it fixed until they figure out why it's either the build quality or maybe there's some kind of internal coding or something that's messing it up, which most likely is probably just the build quality.
Honestly, it's probably the digital because I mean everybody's complaining that these are digital sticks, not analog.
That's true.
Maybe that's what it is.
That
It's
is
something
true.
related to that, and there's some kind of
Right.
sensor in there that's just not. That's just over time, just breaking down or whatever.
Yeah.
But
No, I totally agree.
you know, this is a timely situation when in a couple months we have the Switch Lite coming out that does not have Joy-Cons. So that's kind of interesting to see.
Oh, everyone go buy yourself a new Switch.
Oh man, I wonder if in that patent where they said that this new Switch will have better battery life, that also means it's going to have fixed Joy-Cons too. That'd be funny. But anyway, so Joy-Cons are having drift
Right.
problems. If you guys have been having some issues with this, like let us know. Leave a comment and give us some feedback into that because I'm curious to see how many people are actually having this problem and if you're seeing different differentiations in the issue. So I'm curious to know if it's like the exact same thing where you're just not touching it and it just starts drifting, or if it's something that happens after certain triggers in playing the game, like, you know, after you open into a game or, you know, you're just in the menu system or what is causing it to really happen. So let us know if you have any feedback on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an overwhelming amount of customers, even though that is a lot of customers.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a Switch, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not too many. But yeah, $80 to buy a new set of controllers
Yeah.
sucks.
I still think that price point's way overpriced.
Yes, it is. And I agree that the technology they have is pretty awesome, and you know, but it's not utilized enough. You know,
Right.
like they're like, oh well, look, you can get 1, 2, 3 Switch or 1, 2 Switch, whatever, and it's going to be so cool. You can try all these new things out. No,
Yeah.
they have too much technology in there to make it worth your while.
Yeah.
So I think maybe selling some that don't have all the cool stuff in it, sell those for like $30, $40, half the price.
Yeah.
I think people will be a little more okay with, okay, I got to go buy some new stuff. When you have the PlayStation controllers, Xbox controllers, you can use them for years on end before you need to go buy a new one, you know?
Yeah.
So
I have a
it's just
question.
not good.
When you first got your Switch, you mentioned a lot that you found yourself playing the Switch with the Joy-Cons unlocked from the Switch with handheld, basically playing it like that. Do you still
Right.
do that, or have you found yourself falling into using a Pro Controller?
Yeah,
or
Pro Controller
Okay.
is where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like is happening a lot. Is like as much as the Joy-Cons are cool and the utility is interesting,
All right.
I feel like they're still kind of gimmicky in a way.
yeah.
Like it's great when we're at an event to be able to pull it off and just like flip it sideways.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing dock play, it's going to be with the Pro Controller.
Well, if I didn't have the Pro Controller, I would be, obviously, the
Yeah.
controllers I got. And I think they're fine, honestly.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to spend the extra money to get a Pro Controller, they're fine. Like they
Yeah.
work great.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Pro Controller just feels better and fits better in your
Yeah.
hand.
See, I don't think they're fine. I'm like against it completely. After having enough play with it, like handheld, I got to do it because I mean it's handheld. You know, you got to
Right.
play handheld like that way. But I cannot play any game that's not an indie game with those joysticks the way they are because it hurts my wrists.
Right.
And it's really uncomfortable. But if I'm like playing Splatoon or probably when I play Fire Emblem or not Fire Emblem, but Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like likely I'm gonna dock that and play it with
The Pro Controller.
the Pro Controller because that's what I want. Like Mario, I don't want to play it with. I mean, even though there is some features of using it like with the Joy-Cons and stuff, you know, motions that you have to use. Like I'd much rather play that with Pro Controller.
So since
'cause
we're
it
on the
feels better.
topic, I'm going to bring up my Switch for a second, show
Okay.
people. But this is what I got. It's a Satisfy grip for a full Switch undocked, and it works really well because it allows you to place your right hand perfectly where it doesn't get tired because of how they have the bottom joystick is like super low. So it allows you like It feels good. So I like playing it undocked like this. Now, I just saw a new Kickstarter that was released recently that allows you to have an attachment grip onto your Pro Controller that holds the screen right over it. So you can actually use a Pro Controller.
Kind of like a shield. Looks like a shield
exactly.
or whatever.
It
Yeah.
looks just like the shield. And I was like,
That's
you know
funny.
what? That's not bad. If there's a case for it, that's not bad. If you really enjoy that kind of gaming, they got something for you.
Yeah.
So I feel like nowadays, there are ways to get around this. I'm sure buying that would be way cheaper than having to spend for new Joy-Cons. It's just that you can't charge your Pro Controller with your Switch. You have to actually, I don't know. There's pros and cons to everything. Hopefully they get this resolved.
Yeah.
It does suck. It sucks a lot.
For sure. But in response to that, this hasn't been necessarily officially confirmed in a press release from Nintendo, but it sounds like they are now claiming that Nintendo is instructing its customer service representatives to repair the controllers for free, no questions asked. And this is interesting because they're not even asking for proof of purchase anymore. They're just saying, if you have controllers, send them to us and we'll fix them. So they're just anybody, which is fine. I mean, they have them in their possession, so let's fix them. And then anybody who previously paid to get one repaired will now be refunded. So this comes as a change after last week, in which your first repair was free, but every one thereafter would cost you something to get them repaired. Now they're just like, screw it, just fix everything and bite the bullet and call it a day.
Yeah, seriously.
So Nintendo's only statement about this was earlier in the week, and they basically just said that anyone affected by the issue needs to reach out to the company's customer support website. But it sounds like that they're taking a bit of a heavier action towards this and fixing it. So good on Nintendo. Thank you, Nintendo, for taking care of that for us.
I mean, hopefully this is true, and hopefully they make an official statement, because it's going to look really bad if they continue this. And this goes to show you that if this is true and comes to fruition, that this is the only industry where you can raise hell and actually get things changed within a timely manner.
Yeah.
So gun everybody who retweeted the last article and or shared our podcast to let people know what's going on and get some things changed, because this was messed up.